Returning to our story, it's September 11th, 2012. The attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi is underway. Back in Washington, what does the president know and when does he know it? What does he say and when does he say it? Questions that turn this terror attack into a political firestorm. Here's Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry.
September 11th, as the attack in Benghazi was playing out, emails cascade into the mailboxes of high-ranking officials in the intelligence community, in the Pentagon, and even the White House. 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. The diplomatic mission is under attack. 49 minutes later, 4:54 p.m., firing at the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi has stopped, and the compound has been cleared. At 5 p.m., the President, Vice President, and Defense Secretary Leon Panetta meet in the Oval Office.
That's about an hour after the attack began. At that time, they would have had a drone and a video feed from a drone being fed back to Washington.
Fox News national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin.
The problem is, don't forget that video from a drone, it's taken from an incredible distance. You don't have clarity as to who's who on the ground. You see figures moving. It's hard to tell friendly from foe.
6:07 p.m. Another email states that a terror group with ties to Al-Qaeda claimed responsibility on Facebook and Twitter. Administration officials later say a posting on social media is not in and of itself evidence. 11:57 p.m. Another chilling email. Subject line: Benghazi shelter location also under attack. The next morning, September 12th, President Obama addresses the nation from the Rose Garden, and what he says or doesn't say will become a hotly debated issue over the next days and weeks.
Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. But there is absolutely no justification to this type of senseless violence.
With those words, the president seems to be saying Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans were killed in a spontaneous riot over that anti-Mohammed internet video and not a planned terror attack. A few paragraphs later, however, he does use the term terror, but in a more general sense after he recalls the September 11, 2001 Al-Qaeda attacks.
No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation.
It is a hugely important distinction to some Obama critics, like best-selling author and commentator Mark Steyn.
There are always reasons to riot in the Muslim world.
Steyn believes the president was trying to dodge responsibility for the attack by chalking it up to the sort of sudden, irrational, out-of-proportion outrage we often hear about in the Muslim world.
I happened to be in the Oval Office once, and President Bush gave a very droll line. He said, oh, well, it's always something. If it's not the Crusades, it's the cartoons. In other words, you might riot over the Danish cartoons, or a Sudanese schoolteacher's teddy bear, or the swirl on a Burger King ice cream tub that happens to look like Allah written in Arabic. There's always a reason to riot.
You are aware that we've got an election going on.
That afternoon, the president leaves for a campaign trip to Las Vegas.
The President of the United States did not postpone a campaign event, even though we had been hit.
I said at the time, I thought that was the biggest political strategic mistake of the Obama campaign.
Dana Perino was the White House press secretary for the George W. Bush administration. She's now a Fox News host.
Just imagine if he would have said, as commander-in-chief, it is important for me to stay back here at the White House. Just imagine, everybody would have thought, wow, how responsible.
Once the president had made his statement, I'm not sure what he should have done.
Democrat Eleanor Holmes Norton represents the District of Columbia.
Are we supposed to sit in mourning for several days and not go about our daily business?
September 13th, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton suggests the attack was just a spontaneous demonstration about the anti-Islam video.
There is no justification, none at all, for responding to this video with violence.
White House Press Secretary Jay Carney explicitly blames the video the next day.
These protests were in reaction to a video. We have no information to suggest that it was a pre-planned attack.
And later that day, at the transfer of remains ceremony at Joint Base Andrews, Clinton talks again about the video.
We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
The father of one of those killed later tells Fox News Clinton told him personally they were going to arrest and prosecute the producer of the video. The next day, September 15th, California authorities haul Nakula Basili Nakula, the man who produced that video, in for questioning and march him in front of TV cameras. September 16th, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice, goes on 5 Sunday talk shows, repeating the same story each time.
This was not a pre-planned, premeditated attack. That what happened initially was that it was a spontaneous reaction to what had just transpired in Cairo as a consequence of the video.
They panicked. They panicked.
Former White House Chief of Staff John Sununu is now a senior advisor to Republican Mitt Romney's campaign.
This is purely a political reaction in a White House that had prepared itself to establish a narrative of a president getting rid of the threat of terrorism, using the death of bin Laden to focus on that, and waking up one morning and finding out that terrorism on 9/11 of this year was back full-fledged and even killing a U.S. ambassador.
Former Obama State Department spokesman P.J. Crowley.
I don't see a political agenda here. I see the fog of war. The fact that we still do not know, it's not about politics. It's about the difficult task of reconstructing what happened and having full access to the site and to all the people that played a role in this.
September 18th.
Did the administration have any sort of heads up that violence was increasing specifically in Libya before the attack?
I'm not aware of any, Ed. This is a matter that's under investigation in terms of what precipitated the attack.
That night on The Late Show with David Letterman, President Obama gives perhaps his most elaborate explanation of what he says happened in Benghazi. Was it a spontaneous riot or a planned attack? A combination of the two, he suggests.
You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character. This caused great offense in much of the Muslim world. But what also happened was extremists and terrorists used this as an excuse to attack a variety of our embassies, including the consulate in Libya.
But on September 25th at the United Nations, the president mentions the video 6 times.
There's no video that justifies an attack on an embassy.
September 27th, the producer of that video, Nakula Basili Nakula, is ordered detained without bail by a federal judge for allegedly violating the terms of his probation. He remains in custody to this day.
The attack on our consulate can't be blamed on a reprehensible video insulting Islam.
By October, the Republican presidential ticket is hitting President Obama hard, saying he's ducking responsibility for the attack.
What we are watching on our TV screens is the unraveling of the Obama foreign policy.
October 16th, at the second presidential debate, Romney and Obama face off. They highlight the now familiar charges and countercharges over whether President Obama took the Benghazi attack, and by implication the Islamic terror threat in general, seriously enough.
So as soon as we found out that the Benghazi consulate was being overrun, I was on the phone with my national security team.
The president, the day after that happened, flies to Las Vegas for a political fundraiser.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people that this was an act of terror, and the suggestion that anybody in my team would play politics or mislead when we've lost 4 of our own, Governor, is offensive.
It took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
6 days later.
The first question, and it concerns Libya.
October 22nd, the final presidential debate.
Governor Romney, you said this was an example of an American policy in the Middle East that is unraveling.
But if anyone was hoping to see another Donnybrook over Benghazi, they would be disappointed.
We see in Libya an attack apparently by, well, I think we know now, by terrorists of some
Whatever
kind.
their reasons, both candidates seem ready to move on.
Well, my first job as Commander-in-Chief, Bob, is to keep the American people safe. And that's what we've done over the last 4 years.
The story, however, is not going away.
Could the terrorist attack in Benghazi have been prevented? Could it have been stopped? Special Report investigates after the break.